Okay, you might have seen Gary Stevenson's new video on refugee protest. He talked about salience, so that was the power of the media not to just report stories, but to decide which stories dominate our attention. The salience angle is a very valid point and one that is very much aligned to Trust Matters UK. So I thought a quick video on this would be beneficial. So once you see how this works, you can never unsee it. Salience simply means what gets made visible. So in the UK, we've seen the news shift overnight from covering the economy to focusing on immigration. So that doesn't just reflect what people are talking about, but it actually shapes what people end up talking about. And we can see this here. So in October 2022, we were focused on the cost of living after the mini budget crisis. And then within weeks, the focus switched to channel crossings and migrants, moving our focus. Now, news outlets have limited space. They can't cover everything, so they make choices. And those choices aren't neutral. They follow business models and ownership structures. And as I've covered before on this channel, 90% of the UK news is essentially owned by just three organisations: DMG Media, News UK and Reach PLC. So they are getting to decide what gets heard, and that's based on their ideology and, of course, how much money they can make. Now, as Reuters and Ofcom have highlighted, emotional topics get more clicks, essentially, and so the news organisations, they can make more money if they're publishing emotionally charged stories, such as things like the migrants and the channels crossings. So researchers have tracked patterns as well. When economic pressure builds, immigration coverage often spikes. So when scandals erupt in finance or politics, culture war stories often rise. These shifts are measurable and they're also predictable. So an example, during 2008, the financial crash, there was an increase in coverage of immigration and crime. So a thematic review of over 60 empirical studies on UK media attention shows that immigration coverage surged after the 2010 Conservative-led coalition government took power. And that was the direct consequence of the 2008 financial downtime. And that study has also been corroborated even by another study done, which actually analysed over 1,500 articles, and that was from 2008 to 2010. And you can see the study there on ResearchGate. So here's the practical bit. You can track salience yourself by asking who owns this outlet, what stories get promoted and when, and what drops out of sight when attention shifts onto those new ones. Now, understanding salience isn't partisan, it's democratic. Once we see how visibility is shaped, manipulation becomes harder, and that is why media literacy matters. So if you believe truth matters, not spin, not secrecy, not slogans, please join the movement, follow, share, spread it, because the more people we see how these tricks work, the harder it becomes to fool us. Please sign up to Truth Matters UK. Truth only wins if we fight for it. Thank you very much for your time.